Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. It is good to see you guys, even though I'm only looking at a camera, but you know what I mean. It's great to be back. It's been only a couple of weeks, but it feels like months because it's been just a really crazy time. I'm going to talk about all this in a future video, but let me just say that business is going really, really well. It's going a little too well right now. I've just had so many really large orders coming in, not even necessarily just wholesale, but some of them are like, I mean, they technically are still wholesale, but like they're like custom orders for events and stuff like that. I've been working with a few different companies and stuff. They buy, candles for gifts and stuff. And so it's just been a lot going on, a lot more still to go on now. I've got several orders still pending. And so my next few videos honestly might be like making candles with me type vibe because I've got a ton of candles to make. And so that's just, that's what we're doing. But I did want to quickly kind of apologize for this month of April. It is like the very tail end of April. I've only posted one video this month because so the beginning of April, like I would say end of March, I was like running like I have been since January. And I was kind of like, you know what? I need to take a break or whatever. And so, or really more so, my body was like, you need to take a break. And so I was like, well, I've got too much to do to take a break. So I will take a break from YouTube for 1 week, but the rest of it, I still need to get stuff done. And so I did that, and then the next week uploaded a video while still doing 8 million other things, and my body was like, that wasn't good enough. And so then I got super sick for like a week, which is a long time for me. I'm usually only sick 2, maybe 3 days max. But I was sick for I was down for like a good week, and it was rough because it was also during my day job where we were in board meetings, and so I couldn't actually take time off work. It's literally one of the only weeks, there's only 2 weeks out of the year that I literally cannot take off work because no one else knows how to do my job and no one else can do my job there. And so it just fell on the worst week possible. So thankfully I was working from home, so I was able to rest a little bit, but other than that, I was still having to work and stuff like that. And so it was a rough, really rough week. But thankfully I've been able to rest a little bit more this past week. I did have to still get some things done, but I was able to rest a lot more, and stuff like that. That's why there has been like 2 weeks, I think now, without any videos. So I do apologize, but I also don't apologize at the same time. I am apologizing, but like there was nothing I could do about it. So if you're mad, I don't know what to tell you. So as you guys can kind of suspect, with all of these large orders coming in, I need to make some candles. And so that is actually what we're going to be doing today. On top of that, we're actually going to be doing it with a brand new wax melter. ToAuto, sorry, I'm like trying to get it in the camera. ToAuto sent me one of their wax melters, and I am super excited to try it out. It's been sitting in our living room now for like probably close to a month, and I haven't even opened it or anything yet because I wanted to open it with you guys because, getting new candle making equipment is always an exciting, fun thing. And so, yeah, so I just really wanted to open it with you guys. I wanted to wait until we could do this together. I'm going to actually be making candles with it today and everything. I mean, assuming that nothing goes wrong or anything like that, should be totally fine. But yeah, and so, yeah, let's get started.
Been from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know if I I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down, yeah.
Okay, so I already appreciate this wax melter more than the Digiboil. It is not as big as the Digiboil, I will tell you that. Obviously, I mean, my Digiboil's right there. It's not as big as the Digiboil, which I knew it wasn't. I'm not planning on using this for like candles normally. That is what we're going to be making today, but that's not what I'm going to be using normally. It will be used for the wax that I use to mix with 6006 to make my wax melts, which is 4625, I believe. But I love that this, like, I didn't have to put this together or anything. It was automatically just already on there. With the Digiboil, we had to screw it in and all that stuff. And it was kind of a beast because of the angle that you have to try and get it on there. It's really annoying. So, I really appreciated that they just had it on there already. It's good to go. You literally just plug it in and you're good to go. Another thing that I really like is that this little hole right here, that is where the wax goes. So you're literally getting all of the wax out. There's not going to be like a little bit that you have to like try and tilt this forward or anything like that, like you do with the Digiboil. That's another great thing because I constantly have to like tilt my Digiboil forward to try and get the rest of the wax out. It's super annoying. Yeah. And so I love that there's just this little thing at the bottom. It goes through and comes out to where the spout is. And then this little thing over here, I believe, is the temperature gauge. And then I turned it to the side so you can kind of see over here. We've got our on-off button, and then I assume you hit this button to set the temperature and then use, obviously, the plus and minus to set that. I like that it shows both the current temperature and the temperature that you have it set to. It does look like they're initially in Celsius, so hopefully it has a way that you can change it to Fahrenheit, because I do not know the all the measurements or the mathematics to change it to Fahrenheit. I know I could Google it, but like doing that every time is annoying. So hopefully it also can change to Fahrenheit, but we'll see. Okay, so I was going to turn it on. I did go ahead and plug it in, but it's not actually turned on yet. I realized that the wax melters, you should always put wax in them first. It's the same with like the Digiboil. Any wax melter I've ever used, they always say you should put wax in it first before you turn it on, because otherwise the machine sometimes just thinks that there is nothing in it. Well, because there isn't. And so if you don't put anything in it, it can actually mess up the heating elements and stuff like that, because it's just not heating anything like besides itself, basically. And so apparently it can mess up and damage the machine. So anyway, we're going to put some wax in it first, and then we will turn it on after that. Okay, so I put roughly probably about 7 pounds or so in there. And as you can see, it is not quite to the top. There's definitely still some space in there too. But this is the max fill line over here. And so but once it melts, it's definitely going to be below that. I could probably definitely put some more in there, but for now, I think this is good. As you can see here, I probably put roughly, like I said, about 6.5, maybe 7 pounds. These are 10-pound blocks and it was full before. So I'd say that's roughly maybe like 6.5, 7 pounds, somewhere around there. But yeah, and as you can see, it is pretty full. So it definitely holds a little bit more than like the Presto pots and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely not as much as the Digiboil, but it definitely holds more than the Presto pots. So honestly, it's really a great upgrade option if you're looking for the next step up, but you don't want to jump all the way to like a huge wax melter. This is definitely a good in-between one. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. Ooh, the buttons are very... So I did this earlier just to find out, but in order to set it to Celsius or to, so that's on Celsius right now. I don't know if you guys can even see the temperature because it's kind of dark over here and the buttons are light. But yeah, so that's on Celsius right now. But in order to change it to Fahrenheit, you just hold down the plus and minus at the same time and it will change. And then I'm going to turn this down to, I'm going to set it at 180. Oh, never mind. It goes up by 10 degrees. Okay, so we'll set it at 185. It's fine. I'm sure it'll be okay. And it's currently at 82 degrees. Sorry, and then you have to hit the set button after you change that. Otherwise, it's going to jump back up to whatever number it was originally set to. So just keep that in mind whenever you're setting this. You can push this first, but then you do have to hit this set button in order for it to not go back to whatever temperature it was originally on. Real fast, before we get to this next part of the video, it would mean so much to me if you guys would give this video a thumbs up, as well as subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so that we can continue hanging out. And literally since this time that I've been talking, it's already started melting. Like I can hear it bubbling. And as you can see, some of the pieces are starting to slide down and stuff. So it definitely is a very quick, machine, just so you're aware. I probably am going to go ahead and keep an eye on it just to make sure it doesn't get too hot or anything like that. Like it doesn't, just like blow up to 200, 212, whatever. It does say it only goes up to 212. So for those of you who like to heat any hotter than that, I don't know. As far as I know, it only goes up to 212 degrees. So keep that in mind. Okay, so I did set a timer on my phone. It's been about 26 minutes. And as you can see, the wax is pretty much melted. It melted it down way further than I thought it was going to. So I'm actually going to go ahead and add a little bit more to this just to see how much it will really hold. Because I think easily we'll be able to fit 10 pounds in there, maybe even like closer to like 14, 15, because it's about half-ish full right now. I'd say like to this line, I'd say that's roughly half-ish. I don't know, somewhere around there. And so, yeah, I honestly think we may be able to fit like 10 to 15 pounds in there or whatever. So I'm going to put some more wax in and then I'll check back with you guys in a minute. Okay, so the wax is completely melted. I would say, I know this is 47 minutes. I would say it was probably closer to like 40 to 45. I definitely got a little bit distracted doing other things while waiting for it. So I would say it was total about 40, 45 minutes. But keep in mind that is also like like only filled it about halfway the first time and then, refilled it again later. So if you honestly filled it up all the way like the first time, it probably wouldn't take as long and stuff like that. But yeah, so keep that in mind. On the little temperature thing over here, it does say, I have it set to 185. It says it's 188, which is close enough. And I am going to test it once I pour some out with my thermometer just to see like where it's at and stuff like that as far as temperature wise. But let's go ahead and get some candles made. Okay, so I just tried to make some candles and I actually already ran into a couple issues, mostly user error, so don't worry. But the temperature on the gauge is actually very, very accurate, which I was not expecting. I'm not gonna lie, I just assumed it was gonna be off because that is what I've always dealt with. I've always dealt with melters that are just a little bit hotter than they say that they are. I've dealt with that with Presto pots, with my Digiboil, with literally every melter I've ever used. It has always been hotter than what the gauge, like what you set it to. So I just assumed that was going to be the case. But congrats to ToAuto for making an actual like good temperature reading because it was like nearly spot on. So, but because of that, I had to pour the wax back into the melter and heat it up a little bit more because what happened was I had it set to 185, which is about, I usually, like my Digiboil, I set it to like 175, 180 between there because like I said, it's always much hotter than that. When the wax comes out, it's usually around 195, sometimes even 200, depending on, what I have it set to. But because of that, and I always heat up my pouring pitcher with my heat gun, but because it was literally right at 185, it's still, by the time I got all the wax in there and stuff like that, it had already dropped quite a bit, down to it was like 175 or something like that, which realistically probably would have been still fine to add the fragrance oil and just make the candles. It probably would have been fine, but I am a little more meticulous when it comes to my temperatures, just because has always been the thing that usually I have issues with. If I have issues with scent throw, it's usually because I added too hot or too cold, and so I'm pretty meticulous with adding right around 180, 185. Now if it's a degree or two off or whatever, I usually don't worry about it too much. But if it gets much below 180, I just notice sometimes I have some scent throw issues with certain scents and stuff like that. And so I just pretty much always add above 180. But yeah, again, that's just me. Another thing I don't love, but again, it's partially user error, partially on the manufacturer, so I would say mostly user error, but as you guys saw, I have it sitting up very tall, and when the wax comes out, I'll put up a little video, it comes out very, very fast, very violently is the only way I know how to describe it. It comes out very gushing, very quickly, which I don't love, just because, especially because I have to have it up so high right now. Eventually I'm just gonna have to get my friend who made my little stand for my Digiboil, I'll just have him make one for this guy too, because it's basically I don't know if I would have to have it maybe a little taller or what, but basically somewhere around the same height as I can, for where the spout is. But yeah, and so that's kind of an issue, just because if you do have to set it up higher like I am right now, wax splashes everywhere. It literally is all over the place. I mean, it was already all over the place, so it's not a massive deal, but it's super annoying because then I need to get rid of, I have a tablecloth on this table purely to hide all the stuff that's underneath the table, but I need to get rid of it because this tablecloth is disgusting now. It has so much wax all over it, and just dried fragrance oil that just leaves stains, and it's just, yeah, it's so ugly. But wasn't much I could do about it at the time. I was just trying to hide everything under the table. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that anymore, so I don't know. We'll see. But either way, my point is that, whatever you set the temperature to on this wax melter, just expect that that is the temperature that it actually is going to be, which is surprising to me because, I've just always had, like I said, products that don't do that. So I had to pour it back in there. I'm heating it up to 195 now, just to give it a little extra leeway and stuff like that. That way when I pour it out, I have more time to add fragrance and stuff like that before it cools down, and stuff like that. So it takes my thermometer a little bit to get up to temperature as well. And so that's another, just kind of more user error thing. I do not use the digital ones. I always hear people saying how inaccurate they are and stuff, and so I'm like, I'd rather not. I know that you can figure out how inaccurate it is and do the math and stuff, but I'd rather just have a thermometer that works. So that's just me. But it is up to temperature now, so let's try this again. Let's make some candles. Overall, this has been a great first experience with this wax melter. I will definitely probably do an updated video in a couple months of just like how it's doing, you know, like any other thoughts or things I've run into at that point, things like that, and everything, just kind of give you guys an update on how it's working and everything like that. But for now, I'm really excited to work with it. It is definitely, it holds more wax than a Presto pot, which is kind of what I was wanting. Something that would hold more of, like I said, I'm going to be mostly using it, for the most part, I'll be using it for the wax that I use to blend with 6006 to make my wax melts. But yeah, so for the most part, it will be holding that wax rather than just 6006. Once I get the rest of the 6006 out of there, I'll continue making candles with it and everything like that. Really, the only issue that I have is just how like aggressively it comes out of the spout or whatever. And like I said, I mean, you know, if I had it on a smaller ledge or thing or whatever, it wouldn't be as big of a deal. Right now it kind of splashes everywhere, and so you know, you can definitely like turn the little on off thing like a little bit less so that it's not coming out so quickly, but it still kind of comes out, like sometimes it'll start coming out in multiple streams or, you know, things like that. And so that's really the only issue with it. And the only time it comes out in multiple streams is like when you have it less than like fully open, just so you know. So if you have it fully open, it's only going to come out in one stream, but it comes out very aggressively. So, and I'm just not one of those people who is going to, you know, I know some people like to just, you know, hold the wax pitcher under the spout and stuff, and then they put it on the scale and then they take it back off, you know, fill it some more, put it back on the scale. Like, I'm not that person. I'm not patient enough for that. And so, yeah, I just want to be able to pour it directly onto the scale and everything, and, you know, see exactly where it's at and not have to keep going back and forth. But that's just me personally, like I said. So, but with that, that's really like the only issue that I see with it. And again, like, you know, once I have a smaller thing shelf to place it on, I think it'll be fine. I don't think it'll be as, hopefully, as splashing as much as it is right now and stuff like that. So really that's more user error than anything else. But yeah, other than that, this wax melter is really great. I definitely, I think honestly, like if my digiboil ever craps out, I might just see, I don't know for sure. I'm not sure if they have a larger wax melter than this one currently or not. I'll have to look into it and see if they do. If so, if my digiboil ever craps out, I will probably honestly just switch to them, because I honestly have heard some not so great things recently about digiboils and just things that have been happening to other people and stuff. And so it does make me a little nervous. Thankfully, I have not had any issues with mine. Well, okay, I will say I had one issue where the spout came unscrewed basically and started kind of leaking a little bit of wax, and so we had to rescrew it and stuff like that, which is another issue that, you know, another reason why I'm really glad the ToAuto one comes completely like done for you, like you don't have to worry about it and stuff like that. That is super nice. Because yeah, it is like where this is inside of here, it's very hard to screw on, like just because of the angle that you have to do it at and everything. And it's so close to the bottom right here that like there's no room to like get your wrench or whatever you're using to, you know, tighten it or whatever. There's like no room to get on there, so you have to like, you're moving in very small increments, and it's just super annoying, super big hassle. And so, like I said, I really appreciate that the ToAuto one, you don't have to do that. You don't have to worry about it. And another thing is that the ToAuto wax melter is, I know you guys can't see it right now, sorry, I keep pointing at it, but it's not there for you. But it is actually made for wax and stuff. The digiboils are technically not made for candle making. So that is another reason why, you know, maybe going with the ToAuto might be a better option for you. Again, it's up to you, but I'm just sharing the facts. If you guys want to check this wax melter out, I will leave a link to it down in the description box below. As I said before, this is not sponsored or anything like that. They did send me the wax melter, but it's not sponsored. I'm not being paid from them at all. It is available through Amazon, which is the link that I am leaving below. I am an affiliate with Amazon, so I do get a small commission. It just really helps out me, my channel, etc. To continue growing and stuff like that. It doesn't cost you guys anything, so don't worry. But yeah, but with that, that is going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. And if you guys would like to continue hanging out, there's going to be some other videos that pop up on the screen, and I will see you there.